Today, let's talk about the American education system and talking about school.
Well, children, it's the last day of school.
If you are for real about your English education, then click here to get on Patreon for today's special story time, where I read you a really terrible book that I wrote in the 6th grade when I was a 6th grader. And join fast because when we get to 50 patrons, we'll start doing 2 live videos each week on Patreon. So hurry up, yo! Let's start from the beginning of your education. Elementary school, also called primary school and grade school. Elementary school starts with kindergarten. Children in kindergarten are between the ages of 5 and 6. The focus isn't so much on education as it is on interacting with other students, playing some games, and learning how to behave in a classroom. If you are in kindergarten, you are a kindergartner, and in general, you are an elementary, a primary, or a grade school student. Some kids start going to school before kindergarten. This is called pre-K or pre-kindergarten, which is basically just a daycare. After this, we have the main part of elementary school, from grades 1 to 5, ages 6 to 10. In education, a grade has 2 very important but very different definitions. The grades you are in and the grades you get for the coursework you do. The first grade describes the level or the class that you are in. For elementary school, your grades are 1st through 5th. To tell people the grade you are in, you can either say to be a 1st grader, a 2nd grader, a 3rd grader, a 4th grader, or a 5th grader. You could also say to be in 1st grade, in 2nd, in 3rd, in 4th, in 5th grade. The second definition of grade relates to the quality of the coursework and the homework that you do. As a student, you can get good grades and you can get bad grades. In the United States, it's not common to get a mark. It's much more common to get a grade. And you are usually graded from 0 to 100. We also attach a letter to each of these grades. The letters you can get are an A, B, C, D, and F. F means failing. You failed the course. D is usually passing, although it can be failing. C is average. B is excellent, and an A is nearly perfect. After you finish elementary school, you start middle school, also called junior high. It's called middle school because it's between your primary education and your secondary education, or high school. The school year is now divided into halves, or semesters, and each semester has 2 quarters, so 4 quarters in a year with 2 semesters. Middle school is most commonly from grades 6 to 8, ages 11 to 13. To tell people the grade you're in, it's exactly the same as in primary school. So pause the video right now and try to give me the answers before I tell you them. Here we go. To be a 6th grader, a 7th grader, or an 8th grader, or you can say to be in 6th grade, in 7th grade, in 8th grade. And in general, you are now a middle schooler, or to be in middle school. When you finish middle school, you start your secondary education. You start high school. This is from grades 9 to 12, ages 14 to 18. When telling people what grade you're in, you can still tell them that you're in a grade. In 9th grade, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. But you no longer say anything like I'm a 10th grader. It sounds bizarre. Instead, 9th grade is your freshman year, or to be a freshman. 10th grade is your sophomore year, or to be a sophomore. 11th grade is your junior year, to be a junior. And 12th grade is your senior year, or to be a senior. And if you fail one of the grades, you are a super senior. That's more of a joke. There really is no super senior grade. High school is also when you can start to fail classes, and if you fail them, you might have to repeat them. Before this, grades didn't really mean anything. Now they determine if you pass or fail, and if you fail too many classes, then you can be kept behind. It means you have to stay in the same grade. If you're failing classes, it might be because you're skipping them. To skip a class means to not go to a class. To skip school means to not go to any of your classes that day. If you arrive late to a class, you are tardy, and you will be marked tardy. If you don't attend some classes, you will be marked truant, and you can get in serious trouble for bad truancy. To drop out of school means to stop attending completely, to not graduate. So if you drop out of high school, you are a high school dropout, and if you drop out of college or university, you are a college dropout. The grading system for both high school and university are determined based on your GPA, your grade point average. Now, A GPA of 4.0 is an A, 3.0 is a B, 2.0 is a C, 1.0 is a D. And if you graduate from high school, you can start your higher education, also called post-secondary education. Higher education institutions award degrees upon graduation. And in the US, it's completely your choice to choose your major and your minor. Your major is your main course of study, and your minor is your secondary discipline. You can also change these at any time during your education. If you get a 2-year degree, this is from a technical college, also called a tech school. These schools are focused on trained labor skills, oftentimes jobs where you use your hands. Otherwise, if you want to obtain a 4-year diploma, you will enroll in a university or college. These words mean exactly the same thing. There is no difference between a university and a college. To do this while still in high school, you need to take either the ACT or the SAT. These are entrance exams to get accepted to a university. In university, the grades are the same as in high school, both for the grades you receive and the grade that you are in, freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. To help pay for the costs of university, you can apply for scholarships, grants, and financial aid from the government. As well, you can take out loans, meaning borrow money, either from the government or from private institutions. Many students will also work part-time in order to pay for university. Every class is worth a certain number of credits, most often 3. And to be a full-time student, you need to be taking at least 12 credits per semester. If you're taking less than that, you are a part-time student, and you might not be able to get financial aid. While pursuing your first degree in university, you are an undergraduate or an undergrad, and the name of your degree is your bachelor's. After finishing your first degree, you can continue your specialization and get your master's degree. Now you are called either a grad or graduate student, or a postgrad or postgraduate student. If you continue your education after that, you can pursue your doctorate or PhD. Now you're called a PhD student or a doctoral student. When you've finished your actual PhD studies, but you haven't finished your thesis, you are called a PhD candidate or a doctoral candidate. Whew, that was a lot of information. Elementary school, middle school, high school, and university. In English, you're probably going to tell a lot of people about your history studying in the past or what you want to study in the future. To get a head start and to really memorize this stuff, write some examples in the comments. Tell me about your background, what you studied, what you're studying now, or what you still want to study. And remember to check out Patreon to get this week's new videos and to vote for Wednesdays and Fridays videos next week. These videos are made possible thanks to patrons like Nora. Merci Nora. Merci. Merci beaucoup. Are you still there? I've got a little bit more information for you. We have another thing called homeschooling. If you're homeschooled, it means your parents taught you or hired a tutor to teach you at home. It's not super common, and I would say most people are homeschooled if their parents have certain religious beliefs. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is the thing that you wear on your back, where you put your books, folders, pens, and pencils. That's your backpack. Backpack, backpack.